welcome back to my podcast, Working Towards Our Purpose. So it's been a minute. Welcome back for me as well. I think it's probably been like 6+ months since I released an episode. And actually it's probably been longer than that. But I'm bringing it back and feeling inspired and kind of going through some changes in my life and feeling like it's the right time to bring this back. So it's going to be a little bit different. I think I'm going to have far less guest interviews and more sort of shorter episodes that are kind of me talking about different sorts of topics that I want to cover. Not going to put a super goal on it right now. Ideally, it would be great if it was weekly. But, just going to kind of start and see where it goes. But I do want it to be a little bit different in the fact that it's going to be shorter. It's going to be mostly me, and it's also going to be unedited and not as perfect as the last one was. I used to spend a lot of time editing the previous podcast or the previous version of this podcast. And this one's just going to be a little bit more unfiltered. So hopefully that, works out, and we'll both kind of see what it turns into. It's definitely a little bit more nerve-wracking for me, a little more, overthinking. And that's kind of the point of this, is to not overthink it and to just do it. So with that being said, I want to talk about the topic that I got today. And then at the end, I'll talk about maybe what's going to be going forward with this podcast and what to expect. So that being said, today I want to talk about music. So music is, for me, something that I've done a pretty good portion of my life. Started playing guitar in high school and kind of never stopped being more and more and more involved in music. And I've always been really quiet about it. So part of this episode and some changes that I'm making going forward is that I want to talk about doing music more. I want to talk about me doing music more and sharing what I do. I had a conversation with a close friend recently, and he kind of encouraged me to share more of what I do, and taking his advice, and we'll get into that. But yeah, so some changes happening in my life. Going to be leaving a job that I've been doing for a little bit now. I'm kind of ending a business that I had, trying to get into something new. Don't quite know what it is yet, but feel very motivated and encouraged to move in that direction. So I'm taking that inspiration and kind of running with it. Don't have another job lined up and kind of worried about that, but also kind of trusting and, thinking that it will work itself out and I will be able to figure it out regardless. So kind of taking a step of trust in this pivot of my life. But I've noticed that there's, my job specifically that I'm just ending now was leading to a lot of unhappiness in my life. And it was something that at one time worked, but it's not now, and I need to change that. So, kind of backtracking again, but again, the point of this episode and what I want to talk about is music. And for me, that is one thing in my life that I am confident in, and that I know that I want to do. And I know when I'm making music and writing and creating and recording, it's something that I feel is true to me, and I feel alive when I'm doing that. I feel like I'm using my time in the way that I want to be using it. I feel just a greater sense of purpose when I'm able to create something that I like. And I, for the longest time in my life, just kind of ignored it and had other jobs and, didn't have time for it. And when I worked a full-time job, I almost stopped doing music completely and didn't give myself a lot of time at all to do it. But the past few years, I've been really prioritizing it and really been taking it seriously and not thinking like, okay, this thing that I do that takes a lot of time doesn't make me any money, and kind of not using that as a valid excuse anymore, because it brings me much greater things other than money, like happiness and, again, sense of purpose. And now it's something that I'm like trying to share with other people, and slowly but surely kind of putting it out there, and can turn into something that, I never imagined. So that is one thing that I am sure about in my life. And I do know that I want music to be in my life, and taking it as a serious part of my life, even though it doesn't pay me. So I know that it's something that is important to me, and therefore I'm valuing it, and I'm putting more time and energy into it. And I've been thinking a lot about how I want to live my life, and I'm reading like 3 really good books right now at the same time, and they kind of all are touching on this subject of like making your dreams and goals realities, and in order to do that, getting really specific on what that looks like. And I've done some exercises and some writing and envisioning, and really thinking about like how I want to spend my time, ideally thinking about nothing else other than like how I would choose to live my life, and really thinking about that, and trying to incorporate any of that into my life now. And, if money wasn't an option, if I didn't have, if I could do anything with my time, music would definitely be a big part of it. So that's what I'm doing now. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 or 3 years. 2 years. And so this year I was really thinking about that too. And at the beginning of the year, I finished an album at the end of last year and released it. And at the beginning of this year, I was thinking about like how I want to approach music for 2025. And I came up with this idea of writing, recording, and releasing a song each month for every month. So then by the end of the year, I'd have 12 songs, which is, kind of a full-length album. Well, it is a full-length album, but kind of just spaced out in single format. And the idea behind that was that last year I had this like collection of songs, and then I got to like October and I was like, oh, I should do something with these. I should put them together. I should record them. And then I kind of like rushed to put them together and record them and mix them and master them and everything. And I kind of did that process once, and I was like, okay, well, if I am still writing that many songs, but I'm doing it now at a monthly rate instead of a yearly rate, then theoretically I could be 12 times better at recording, writing, mixing, mastering. So that was kind of the idea, to just repetitively kind of keep doing the process over and over and over again each month. And so far it's worked out really good. And I've had my 6th song, my June song, comes out on Monday, June 30th, which is probably the same day I'm going to release this episode. And yeah, I've just been really happy with the process so far. I feel like they're coming out better and better. I feel like my writing's getting better. I feel like my mixing's getting better. And yeah, it's something that I am now trying to share with the advice from a close friend. And, I've decided that music is this important thing for me. And I think out of fear, I don't want to share it. I don't want to be judged by it. I don't want people to perceive me in a certain way, but these are all limiting fears that I have. And if I do really care about this thing that I'm doing, I think it's doing it a disservice and doing myself a disservice by not sharing it or telling anybody that I'm doing it. So, the topic of this episode is just really like talking about that and like saying like, hey, I make music and release it. And that's a scary thing for me. It's difficult to say that for some reason, and I'm still getting used to it, but I'm trying to make less decisions based out of fear these days. And that was one I was keeping to myself for a while, and I don't want to do that anymore. So, I think really thinking about like putting my mind to something and accomplishing it. And I think a goal, I talked about like thinking about goals. A goal that I have for music, specifically for myself in the future, would be to have I had a goal. I kind of changed it a little bit. At first, it started out as 15,000 listeners on Spotify, and then it ended up as 100,000. And that's not because I like want the credentials of like social acceptance, but more so that I would like to be able to reach people with the music that I'm creating, because I would hope to make connections and have it resonate with other people. And another goal too would be also to eventually get some source of income from my music. And with 100,000 listeners on Spotify, you could make, well, it kind of changes every day, but a couple $100 a month, I think. And that would be kind of cool to make a couple $100 off of something that I'm doing anyways. So, I'm not like totally tied to that goal, but I'm putting it out there in the universe and trying to work towards that. And I think the way that I can contribute to working towards that is not only constantly creating music, but also starting to tell people. And that's always been the hardest part for me, is trying to just say, hey, I'm doing this, here it is. So this is my episode of being like, hey, I'm doing this, here it is. So yeah, that was kind of what I wanted to say in this episode. It's probably a little bit chaotic. Like I said, I'm not used to this like non-editing sort of stream of conscious type podcast. But I want to get used to it, and I want to get better at it. And thinking about how I'm getting better at making music, I can think of podcasting in the same way. And that if I can keep doing this, maybe make it a weekly habit, then 6 months from now, I'll be able to do this no problem. And so thanks for bearing with me through this, if it was a little clunky or all over the place. But it is something that I would like to do, because podcasting was again another source of encouragement and energy and fulfillment and purpose for me, just like music is, when I was interviewing people. And I really felt good about doing the podcast. And the only reason I stopped was scheduling conflicts. Like, it was really hard to get people booked. Everybody's busy, and that was one aspect. But then the other aspect was I was also busy myself, and it became just too much work for me, and I was getting burnt out because I wasn't getting anything in return. So this go around, I'm going to try to make it a little bit easier on me by not editing, by not having guests most of the time, and just keeping it a little bit shorter, in an effort to keep it more sustainable for me. And yeah, so, going forward, I think I want to talk about certain topics that I'm working towards, things like reaching goals and setting goals and like reaching your dreams and actually dreaming and figuring out what you want and figuring out what I want. It's kind of going to be following my next journey on to figuring out what it is that I want to do with my time in my life. And maybe in another episode, I'll get a little more specific on that. But yeah, I just want this to be a place where I can also share things that I've learned. I do a lot of reading, and I read a lot of life-changing, amazing books, and would love to be able to share that with somebody that wants to listen. So there'll be a lot of that going forward. And yeah, I think really finding, like I said earlier, just finding this new energy and inspiration going forward. And I think it's coming from choosing myself and choosing to not stay in a job that I don't feel I'm being treated well in, and kind of standing up for myself and being like, you know what, this isn't worth it for me anymore, and I can't keep doing this to myself. I'm going to leave, and I'm going to let the rest of it figure itself out, and kind of trusting and having that faith. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And also don't know how to wrap these episodes up, but this is me trying to wrap it up. And I will see you on another episode real soon.